Hi, so I'll be doing my climate change speech on video. So, climate change is a topic that affects us all, no matter where we live or what we do. Whether we experience extreme weather, wildfires, rising sea levels, climate change is real and it is happening right now. But when it comes to understanding what's driving climate change, people have different views. There are those who agree with the consensus view, the idea that human activity is the main cause. And then there's the minority view, which suggests that natural processes could be playing a bigger role or that science isn't settled yet. Today, I want to explain both of these views a little bit and give a better understanding of the arguments behind them and then talk about what we can do about them. So first, the consensus view. Climate change is real and is caused by humans, as I said earlier. This is a position held by more than 97% of climate scientists in the world. They agree that climate change is real and that human activities like burning fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial activities are the primary causes. The evidence supporting this view is very overwhelming as well. So the first argument for the consensus view is rising global temperatures. One of the biggest pieces of evidence is the rise in global temperatures over the past century. Data from NASA shows the last few decades have been the hottest on record ever. In fact, 19 of the 20 hottest years ever recorded has been since 2001. The rise in temperatures isn't just a short-term fluctuation, it's clearly very long-term, and it's a long-term problem. What makes it so important is that these temperatures increases. The temperature increases are not random or due to natural cycles alone. Over millions of years, the Earth has gone through warming and cooling periods, but there's been a current rapid rise in temperatures that is much faster than what we've seen in the past. This quick pace of warming is something that scientists believe is driven by human activities and actions, specifically our carbon emissions. So argument 2 for the consensus view is carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, as I said earlier, are a big cause of climate change. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, which means it traps heat from the sun in the Earth's atmosphere. And since the Industrial Revolution, human activities, mainly like burning coal, oil, all natural gases, have significantly increased the amount of CO2 in the air. In fact, the concentration of the carbon dioxide is now higher than it's been in over 800,000 years. This is very important because higher carbon dioxide levels means more heat gets trapped in the atmosphere, which contributes to the warming of our whole planet. So according to the U.S. Global Research Program, the annual greenhouse gases index is a measure of the capacity of Earth's atmosphere to trap heat as a result of the presence of long-lived greenhouse gases. The website goes further and explains that the AGGI provides standardized information about how human activity has affected the climate system through greenhouse gas emissions. And here is a chart that represents the annual greenhouse gas index level going up. And then next, or finally, for my third argument for the consensus view is climate models. Scientists use climate models to predict what might happen in the future if we continue to use greenhouse gases at the current rates that we are right now. These models are based on the physics of how greenhouse gases interact with the Earth's atmosphere. And while no model is perfect, these climate predictions have been pretty accurate thus far. And here is another picture or graph that shows these climate models. An example is scientists predicted that carbon dioxide levels increase. We would see more extreme weather events like stronger hurricanes, longer droughts, rising sea levels, more wildfires, and that is exactly what we have started to see. So far, these models have been right about the trends we've been experiencing. This shows that these models are reliable and that unless we change our behavior as humans, we will continue to see these trends getting worse. Okay, so now moving on to the minority view, which is humans doubting that humans are causing climate change. While the consensus is strong, there are still some scientists and people who question the idea that we as humans are the main cause of climate change. They argue that natural processes can play a bigger role than we think they do, or that we don't really understand how climate change works yet. And here are some of the minority view's biggest arguments. The first is natural climate cycles. One of the main arguments from climate change skeptics is that the Earth has always been going through these cycles of warming and cooling. They point out that before humans started burning fossil fuels, there were periods like the medieval warm period and the Little Ice Age when Earth experienced extreme warming and cooling. And here is a good graph that demonstrates that as well. And skeptics say that this shows that current warming could be just another natural cycle, not necessarily caused by humans. But the Earth has experienced fluctuations in temperatures over millions of years. So that does back up the minority view. Okay, so the second argument I have for the minority view is climate models do have limitations. This is an argument that skeptics say that climate models are not always accurate. While they are helpful, they are based on many assumptions and rely on data that can be incomplete or just uncertain. Many skeptics say that sometimes these models make predictions that don't really match reality. For example, some climate models predicted that temperatures would rise more quickly than they actually have. So while we are still seeing warming, some of the more extreme predictions about temperature increases have not come true as quickly as we have expected. Skeptics also argue that this shows we need to be more cautious about relying too much on these models and that they're not always accurate. So we shouldn't use that as our only source of evidence. And then lastly, for the minority view argument, there's other factors like the sun and volcanoes that affect climate change. For example, some people point out that the sun's activity, saying that periods of higher solar radiation could contribute to the Earth's warming as well. Others point out volcanic eruptions, which can release large amounts of CO2 and particles into the atmosphere. And while these natural factors can play a role in warming or cooling the planet, scientists have found that the amount of carbon dioxide from volcanic eruptions is much smaller than compared to human activities. So while solar activity does have an impact on the Earth's temperature, scientists say that the recent rise in global temperatures cannot be explained solely by volcanoes or the sun. And an important question to ask ourselves is, how do we make sense of both these views, the consensus and the minority? Human activity is a major driver of climate change, and the minority view, which suggests that natural factors could be more important or that we don't fully understand everything yet. It's important to remember that science is always evolving. It's natural for people to question and challenge ideas, and skepticism is an important part of any scientific process or question. But after many decades of research and data collection, the evidence that human activities are contributing to climate change is overwhelming. And there are still uncertainties. We do not know everything, but we do know that human actions, especially burning fossil fuels, are causing the planet to warm. And yeah, so that is my speech, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.